Hello, how are you, everyone? I promised you I'll be bringing you something nice, and I'll be talking to a very beautiful lady today. Please, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello everyone, my name is Maria. My family and friends know me as Rati. My surname is Muzanaro. I'm a middle-aged woman from Zimbabwe, and I live in Sunderland, currently working as a social worker.
So today, I promised you I'm going to be talking to Maria because Maria is an achiever. Like I said, we'll be talking to real people in the real world, you know. We have to start from our community to encourage people who are doing very well, and so that other people who are struggling can actually pick something and learn from the process these people who have achieved are going through. So Maria is a friend of mine. I've known Maria for close to...
About 9-10 years.
Is it not more than that?
It could be.
I thought it was more than
since
that.
you came to Sunderland.
Yes.
Because you came in and you found me here.
So, yeah, so yeah, I came into Sunderland 2009.
So I knew you since then.
Yeah, so we've known we've been in the ministry together. We became sisters, from friends to sisters and sisters to sisters. You know what I mean? Sisters in the Lord to sisters. You know. So I've known Maria. She's a woman of integrity. She's a mother, like she said to you. She's a social worker. She's a wonderful woman, you know. When you talk about a virtuous woman, Maria is an embodiment of all that. And I'm not saying it because she's here, okay? I'm not trying to patronize her. This is something I know about Maria. She's a wonderful woman. She's a mother to many people. Maria has only one biological child, one son, but she has many children. She's a mother of many nations, okay? So she if you look at, I'm going to show you some pictures later. You'll see some of her adopted children, you know. She has a large heart and she helps a lot of people. So thank you, Maria, for coming on the show. I'm very happy you agreed for me to do this interview. This is just the beginning. You know, we're not like perfect yet, but we're getting there, and I know we're going to do it better in future. But this is just to encourage someone, because I like success, and I like to be identified with successful people, especially people who are genuinely successful. So Maria, I want you to just give us a brief of your history in the United Kingdom, just because a lot of people will be coming into United Kingdom or England or wherever in the Western world from Africa, you know. Some people are coming in today, some people will come in the future. We need to know how you got here and what has worked for you. How did you get to where you are at the minute?
I think it's probably what you would probably call a typical story of how I ended up here. It's nothing extraordinary from the next person. But I was invited by my sister-in-law and her family to come. But when I came in, they were already preparing to go back out. So I came into this country as a visitor, and I stayed with my in-laws for quite a while. And after a few months, I decided to study in the United Kingdom. So I changed my visa at the time from visitor to a student. So I worked and learned in this country as a student from the year 2003 up until 2008, when I qualified as a social worker. Yes. And as soon as I qualified as a social worker at the time, social work was a shortage profession, so I was quite fortunate that where I did my final year placement was, they quickly snatched me up, and I went back to work in the team, where I had amazing people. I had an amazing mentor. His name is Stephen Holmes, and there's always been one person who has supported me throughout my working life, and he is known to my family. He's part of my family as well, because of the impact that he's had in my life.
Oh, that's wonderful. He said he had an amazing mentor. Okay, so in life, we need people to give us that push, people to, give us the leverage, for us to move to where we need to be. We all need that person. So you need a Stephen in your life. So this was her journey, of how she became a social worker, how she came into England. But, so why social work? Why did you choose social work? You could have been a nurse, you could have been anything, because you're a very intelligent and smart woman. I know social work is not easy as well, but you could have been something else, but why social work?
And as you have rightfully said, in life everyone needs a mentor. I have an amazing friend. A lot of people know her because we grew up together. She was working as a physiotherapist in Stockton-on-Tees at the time, and initially I wanted to do something as close to what she was doing as I could, but I knew I couldn't get into physiotherapy, so I opted for occupational therapy. So I wanted to travel from London and live in the northeast to be very close to my friend Nadirai. And so I applied to the universities within the area. So with UCAS you have to give a first and second and third options. So I couldn't get into occupational therapy. I got into social work. And when I was going through the interview process, there were quite a few interview stages that we had to go through. I think I had to travel from London about 3-4 times until I actually got the confirmation that I had qualified. And because of that travel and me having to understand what social work was, I actually fell in love with it. I was quite happy that I didn't get into occupational therapy. I got into social work.
Helping people, isn't it? Which is what is your passion. You like helping people, you like supporting people. So that is fantastic. So it was just driven by the passion of helping people, because social work in England is all about helping people, especially families, okay? So having said that, you've done social work, and how long have you been a social worker now?
Since 2008.
All right, that's good. 2008 and now it's about 12 years, is it?
Yes.
Wonderful, fantastic. Look at that. And she's not even 50 yet. So God is good with Maria, God has been good to her. So, and now she's a social worker. So tell us about your child. You have a child, don't you?
Yes. I have by law 2 children, Michelle, Nyasha.
All right.
She's my daughter by marriage.
Yes,
And he's my biological son. Yes. And they are the pride of any mother. I stand up tall when I talk about my children because they are really amazing.
That's good.
And every so often I feel my eyes tearing up because of the emotions that I have for the children that I have been privileged to mother. And I'm grateful because in as much as I am their mom, I'm not their only mom. I come from a big family.
Good.
And both my sisters and my in-laws.
That's the thing in Africa, isn't it? The community raised a child, not just one person.
So I could never take credit for being,
good.
Their mother, because the extended family has been part of their life more than I have. That's
good. Yes. Wonderful. So now we are coming to the real issue, which is about money, finance. So 3 years ago, was it?
When
Maria bought a house, isn't it?
Yes.
She bought her own house, okay? So if you are planning to buy a house, okay, you're looking for a real realtor, is that what they call them, Maria is the person to ask. If you are in Sunderland and Newcastle, okay, you want to ask questions about buying a property, you should speak to this woman. Honestly, that was why I said my program is real talk with real people. I've heard of people buying houses. I know families who bought houses. I know they just buy a brand new house and nothing was done to it. But 3 years ago, Maria bought a house and we're sitting in that house right now. I'm going to show you a peek of that house, you know, later. So, so Maria, how did this journey of buying a house start? Because I know. So Maria, how did this journey of buying a house start? Because I know quite a few places you lived before moving into this permanent place of yours. So how, I want to know how you decided, why you decided to buy a house, because people need to know why they shouldn't pay rent to a landlord, why they should have their own property, and we'll go into the finance, how you managed. So, yeah.
It's a childhood dream to own a property. Well, it's my childhood dream, and I know one or two other people who I have surrounded myself with. They talk property. So for so many years, I tried to get a property in Africa, and you know, it comes with its frustrations. You buy a piece of land, you go there, the land is there, you go back there, the next time you see a house that you didn't build, and you think, whose house is this?
Are you hearing that?
Yes, so, you know, I was one of those unfortunate people who had their money stolen from them back in 2005. And between 2005 and 2008, there was nothing that I could do because I was an international student paying international school fees, so it wasn't easy. And I was paying rent, and in that time I was living in, you know, initially some really not so nice places, and then I moved into some nice student flats, and I enjoyed the idea of owning my own place and doing it up the way I wanted to do. You know, putting a hammer and a screw in there just to nicen a place up. So in 2008, just before the recession, a friend of mine and I agreed on buying a house to let. We, you know, got our mortgage agreed and everything, and we were quite excited. But then my friend had a little bit of a setback, so we had to stop, and it was heaven sent, I must say, because if we had progressed with the purchase of a property as students, we would have struggled because the property market just crashed in 2008. So we put everything on hold. I focused at that time my attention on just bringing my family here. And the thing that a lot of refusals I got were you don't have anywhere for your family to live. And even if I gave them evidence that I was renting a property, I was settled, it always came back, you don't have anywhere to live, so your family can't come here. So it became a passion to quickly settle down so that I could quickly get my family into the United. And when I talk about my family, it was my husband and two children. So, you know, by the time we got to 2010, Nyasha had already settled at university. She was doing okay. It was quite difficult to get both children here. God answered my prayer. 2011, my son and my husband joined me in this country.
Brilliant.
And we started working hard, trying to make sure, you know, things were okay for us to purchase our first property. But as quite a lot of people know, when you've been living apart for such a long time, it's quite difficult to sort of like live on the same wavelength. My husband and I, we separated in 2016. And at that time, I was almost on the tip end of purchasing a property. And we got our mortgage refusals, you know, just like everyone.
You would get refusals,
Yes.
I did get once, I gave up.
No, I didn't give up. I just needed.
Which is why I'm talking to Maria, because I chickened out.
And we had the privilege of living in a friend's house. She had bought this house from new. and I could tell the flaws of a newly built property, and I decided at the time that I needed to get a nice old house, which has been lived in, which
I
character.
saw in its state as an old house. So this is why I'm part of the testimony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And we moved into this house. We bought it from a beautiful lady, and she had looked after it so well. But I had a bigger vision of the house.
Yes.
So it came with a nice garden, and I said I want to bring my house into the garden and see what it can give me.
Yeah.
Because at this time I was on my own, applying for the mortgage. My affordability mark was quite low, so the amount of mortgage that I could get wasn't as much as I would have wanted at the time.
All right, beautiful, fantastic vision. It's good to have a vision. Okay, so now Maria, let's talk about the finance. You know, you told me how much, I'm not going to say here, you paid every week or on a daily basis, for this house to look the way it's looking now. So not everyone can afford that. Not everyone can put such money on the table to do such a big project, you know. And before I go into that, there was something Maria said when she was talking about buying a house or building a house in Africa. A lot of people come to England or the Western world and they are such in a hurry to go and build back home. Listen, I think you should invest where you are first. You heard what she said. You could buy a land, go back home, and someone else has built on it. I've heard, in fact, I didn't even know it happens in Zimbabwe. I thought it only happens in Nigeria. There's people they call, there are just people they call Omonile people in Lagos. Once you buy a land, you have to keep tipping them until you put foundation on that land. You could lose it anytime.
Oh, it's very easy. I had a foundation on my house, and I still lost it.
Look at that. Look at that. So I've told so many people, immediately they get little money, they are just quick to go home and invest. A lot of people don't even end up, I'm not saying it's bad to build a house where in your father's land, country, or wherever you're originally from, but it's important to invest where you are. Okay, it's important. There's a saying in Igbo, I don't know how many Igbos are watching, but there's a saying, Ebonye bikona wachi. That means where you live is where you occupy. Do you understand? So why are you rushing to go and build somewhere else and you know that investing in property in England, I live in England, so I know, investing in a property here, it's a massive business, because when you cash out big, isn't it?
Yeah. And I always believe that if you were destined to retire in Africa, if you've got a home here in the United Kingdom, sell it. When it's time for you to retire, sell it and go and buy yourself a nice house in Africa when you need it. Because one of the things that the period of lockdown taught me was, unless your house is a home, you won't find joy in staying there.
What?
So when you were stuck in the house and you couldn't go to work, you couldn't go to the shops, you couldn't go out to socialize with friends, you would look at your four walls and you would think,
exactly,
I haven't made this as homely as I want it to be,
I'm
because
bored.
you're hardly in there. So if you are living in a single room and you are investing in Africa and you were stuck in your single room, you need to then ask yourself, is this the life that I want?
Exactly. A lot of people end up not even moving into that house in Africa. I've heard stories, but I don't want to spoil your day with negativity. You know, I've heard many stories, you know, of people building houses there, but they never went home. They never got to see the house. People will send them imaginary pictures of what the house looks like, but they never got to see this house until they even die. Okay? So if you are living somewhere, make it a home. Wherever you lay your head, isn't it? They say it is your home. Do you understand? Make it a home. We are missing it. So anyway, by the way, so that was just a diversion, because I remember she said something about that. So I wanted to buttress on that point. But anyway, Maria, so how did you manage with the finances for this house? How did you, because when you told me how much you've invested, I was like, you know, because I know a lot of people find it difficult to save. And there was something you told me the day we were having this short conversation before I decided I was going to talk to you officially. You said something about, there was something you said about competition?
Competition.
Can you please talk about that before we go into how you save the money?
As far as I'm concerned, I don't live for anyone else. I live for me, and I live within my means. And it's very, very important to me. So if someone else is doing okay, I celebrate them.
Good.
I don't compete with them. If I'm driving a ramshackle car and someone is driving the latest model of whichever brand they want to buy, it's their life at this moment in time. Because I believe that there are seasons in every person's life.
Seasons.
If you jump seasons just to catch up with the next person, what if you trip and fall?
Exactly.
And then you end up back at the beginning.
What?
So just take small steps, small calculated steps according to your own lifestyle and affordability.
Yeah.
Don't compete because it just
Don't
doesn't
compete.
help.
She said it all. Don't compete. Because a lot of people see, something that someone else has got. That's why a lot of people fail. Because maybe it's not your time. She said something about seasons. Maybe it's not your time, for God to put you where He wants you to be. Because probably if He puts you there, you might not be able to handle the success that will come with it. So God might be taking you through a process of maturity. Then nurturing you, sieving you to prepare you for the success, but you are trying to jump the gun. And if you get there, I hope you all have heard about, I don't know if you know Hush Puppy, the Nigerian Dubai resident who was doing internet fraud. And he had so much money. He was taken by the Interpol 2 weeks ago. He had so much money, but because he didn't have the maturity to handle it, God could give the same money to somebody else and they would handle it well. Do you understand? But he didn't handle his well. So anyway, by the way, so now we're going to talk about your process of saving the money, how you were able to be so diligent and very calculative and, very prudent as well, because for a woman of your caliber, with all your, wisdom and everything, there must be diligence in everything you do. So, and I know you're a very prudent person. And Maria helps a lot of people financially, yet she was able to still save this money. So, can you tell us?
I think it's just the first thing, and the first and foremost thing is there is what we call divine appointment.
Yeah.
You aren't in a place by luck. You are in a place because God wants you to be where you are. And I strongly believe that is the reason why I am where I am right now. Because what works for me might not necessarily work for the next person.
That's right.
I don't know if you remember at the very beginning I mentioned that I was, between the years of 2005 and 2008, I was an international student. Those who have been international students know how much it costs to be a student.
Yeah.
And those who knew me when I was a student, or even in preparation to be a student, know that sleep was a luxury for me. And I'm not saying do it, because you need to be mindful of your own health. I needed to pay £6,500 every year for my tuition, as well as accommodation, as well as helping out with the family back home. So I needed extreme discipline. I needed to attend classes. I needed to sleep. I needed to eat, and I also needed to work. I needed to study and produce results. So that discipline came from the time that I needed to prepare to go to university. I needed to find that money. I was a cleaner in London. I was working as a cleaner and working in a church office. And during the day, I would work in the office, in the admin office. Early in the morning, I would come into the church building and clean the building, and I'd be paid for that. So I'd be paid to clean, and I'd be paid as an administrator.
God bless His diligence.
And on weekends, I would be working as a healthcare assistant in care homes. So there wasn't any job that I felt was too little for me to achieve the goal that I had. And I carried that discipline right through university. And to be able to to pay my tuition fees, it's only God.
Oh.
Because it was hard, it was difficult, and even in that time, I even had the privilege of going home to see my family who were stuck, in Zimbabwe, who I couldn't bring across here. To be able to achieve all that, and still have enough to enjoy a bargain here and there, I thought it was,
God bless you.
it was just heaven sent.
Oh, wow.
So we carried on, with that vision. Save as much as you can.
Yeah.
Save as much as you can.
Yeah.